Yeah, so as we have discussed in our previous session regarding the tense, so welcome to the session. And today we are going to start the next part, that is nothing but from the simple present. So what actually the meaning of present tense and simple present? So in present tense, it is divided into four parts. That is simple present, present continuous, present perfect, and present perfect continuous. And before we go ahead, even we have very important thing, that is why we have to learn the present tense and past tense and future tense. And for this, the reason which is already discussed, that why it is divided into three parts, let me give the recap. Because for a normal human being or for anyone on the planet Earth, except the past, present, or future, except these three scenarios. For example, if you have to talk, so you may talk about the past, or you may talk about the present, or you may talk about the future. But except these three things, you can't talk anything. So let's take one by one. So present tense is divided into four parts. That is simple present, present continuous, present perfect, and present perfect continuous. So why into four parts? Why not into five or six or seven or eight? So here we go with the reason. When in the past, during the early man era, there was not even a single language. So at that time, there was only one thing, that is to wake up, hunt, eat, and sleep. The life was so simple at that time. But there came a scholar. He came up with an idea that as we do our task on a daily basis, but we can't speak. So he thought, and he came up with something called V1. And V1 is nothing but the first form of the verb. And thus, he came up with that concept, and he started saying that I wake up, I hunt, I eat, and I sleep. Thus, the simple present came into existence. Then there came another scholar who said, okay, if you can talk about every day, then how about the past? So as they thought, and then they came up with the V2. And V2, it represents the simple past. Thus, the wake, it became woke. Like I woke up, I hunted, I ate, and I slept. The simple past and simple present came into existence. The life was going so smooth. Now, another person, he thought, and he said, okay, as we know about our past and present, then how about our future? So they just thought, and they just pondered on that and meditated on the same, and they came up with the concept called will. And they added that will to this V1, and thus it becomes simple future. Like I will wake up, then I will hunt, I will eat, and I will sleep. Thus, all the three things we got. Now the life was going so smooth. But one fine day, a person, he was having his lunch. So one of his neighbor or relative came, and thus he asked, what are you doing? So obviously, if someone asks you, what are you doing? So you have to answer only and only in ing form. Thus, they thought, and they came up with the concept of V1 plus ing. Thus, we got something called present continuous. That is, what are you doing? If somebody asks, I am taking my lunch, or I am studying, or whatever the things that you might be doing. In the same way, we got past continuous and future continuous. Now the life was going so smooth. But it used to be like, the Indian psychology, that if a student gets 5 lakh package, so his neighbor or the relatives, they worry about, and they say to their son that yes, he got 5 lakhs, so you have to get 10 lakhs. The same it happened here. As someone has discovered, so one of the person, he thought, okay, why not I have to discover, why don't I discover something better than them? So he came up with present perfect. But there is a twist here. As he said, instead of saying I took lunch, he said, I have taken my lunch. And he has named it as present perfect tense. But the twist is, if we can express the same thing, that is, I took my lunch. If I can express the same thing with the help of simple past, that is using V2, then what is the need of present perfect? Okay, so this gonna be a question for you. In case if you're aware of this, then what you have to do, just type in the comment section. And if not, then just let me explain you what actually the difference is. And most of the people are not aware of this difference. The difference is so simple. Present perfect. So present perfect, which is related to present time. For example, if somebody asks, what are you doing? You may say, I am taking my lunch. But after 10 to 15 minutes, if I ask, what are you doing? You may say, I have taken my lunch. It means the ongoing action got completed. So for that situation, we have to use present perfect. And the meaning of perfect is completed. Whereas the simple past is not related to this. I took my lunch, which is not related to present continuous action. Whereas present perfect is related to the present continuous. So there are two to three scenarios, but the actual scenario is this. As we say present perfect, it means the ongoing action got completed. So in that case, we have to use present perfect. And thus, V3 came into an existence. This is what the thing is. Now, we gonna get the next tense, that is present perfect continuous. So what is the use of present perfect continuous? Let's discuss. So present perfect continuous, and here, let me tell you the example. The example is, I have been reading a book for an hour, or I have been living here for 10 years. So what's the meaning of this? So most of you may say that it means the work started in the past and still going on, but that's the wrong concept. If the work started in the past and still going on, it means that the name should be given as past present perfect continuous, but as we are writing present perfect continuous, so there is something relation between present perfect and present perfect continuous. Let's try to find out. So here, if somebody says, or if the sentence, it goes like, I have been living here for 10 years, it means I have completed 10 years, and after completion of the 10 years, still I am staying here. This is what the meaning is. Let me explain you how. So, as the name it goes, present perfect. It means it has to follow the present perfect rule. And what is the present perfect rule? As you can see here above, have plus V3. In the same way, have and be is the V3 form of be. Thus, and what is the rule of present continuous? It has to contain ing. And even here you can see the ing. Thus, it is satisfying both the rules of present perfect and present continuous. And as we are using first the present perfect, thus the name it comes present perfect. And then at the second place we are using continuous, thus we are using present continuous. Okay, so that is the reason. Sorry. So that is one of the reason why we have to use present perfect continuous. So now the question it arises that the same thing we gonna follow in case of past tense as well and future tense. So these are the four situations which are required in order to express all the situations related to present. In case of past, the other four, and in case of future, other four. But except these four, nothing is required. Let me tell you how. In order to express about everyday, we can use simple present. In order to express about the ongoing action, we can use present continuous. In order to express the action which was ongoing and the ongoing action, if it gets completed, then we have to use present perfect. Whereas After completion, again, if it continues, then we can use present perfect continuous. So just the there is a next question is that you just have to tell a particular scenario or situation which we can't express with the help of these four tenses in present tense. And if you are able to answer, then get ready for the gift. Okay, so please write the situation which we can't express with the help of the present tense, and even that situation may come under present tense. And if you're able to, then you're gonna get the gift. So thank you, and we'll meet with the simple present tense in our upcoming session. Thank you, everyone.